The color guard. The color guard will advance and present the colors of our country. You will stand at attention. Two. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we've hailed at
please remain standing for the invocation, which will be delivered by Kyle Evans from Adamo City in Hayes County in Naperville, Illinois.
Today, we near the end of the third day of our 7-day journey together at the 83rd annual session of Illinois Boise State. Although it's only Monday, we've already had the experiences of speech giving, voting, making countless new friendships, and stealing couches. I ask you all to join me in prayer as we express our thanks to God for this opportunity we've been given. The lessons we learn, the experiences we go through, and the friends we make here at Boise State are invaluable and will guide us and inspire us in our lives. We ask that the Lord grant us wisdom to learn from our past, successes and mistakes, and to have the courage to continue forward, growing and learning together. Amen.
Gentlemen, you may be seated. For over 120 years, Eastern Illinois University has been focused on educating tomorrow's leaders from throughout Illinois and the nation. Long known as one of the premier teacher education facilities in the state, it has continued to diversify their offerings into nearly all areas of collegiate education. This is the 83rd year the Premier Boise State has been on the campus. The 83rd year that Premier Boise State has been in existence, and 40 of those years have been at EIU. They have been gracious enough to partner with Premier Boise State to host us. To say a few words about Eastern Illinois University and the school that I graduated from, I would like to welcome the 12th president of EIU, Dr. David Glassman.
Thank you. How's everybody doing out there? Glad to hear it. As you heard, I'm David Glassman, president of Eastern Illinois University, and I want to welcome each of you to our beautiful campus. We hope you have a wonderful experience during the week you're on campus. You have fun, you learn, and you grow. I'd like to congratulate the American Legion Illinois Premier Boise State on their 83rd anniversary. We are honored that you have chosen once again to hold Premier Boise State on the Eastern Illinois University campus, which you have done for, I believe now, 45 years. The partnership between our two organizations has been extraordinary, and we look forward to hosting Illinois Boise State for decades to come. Here at Eastern, we have just completed our 2017-2018 academic year, which represents our 123rd anniversary as an institution dedicated to educating students through academic excellence and nurturing support. And although 123 years of success is a long time to persevere, it is only about half the time our great nation has flourished since its Independence Day on July 4th, 1776. Now you might ask yourself, what's the commonality between Illinois Boise State, Eastern Illinois University, and our great nation? Well, each of them have succeeded because of strong leadership and the pride, commitment, and attachment of the members in which they serve or their citizens. But one cannot lead and govern alone without it to be whether it be a nation's president, a state's governor, a city's mayor, or a university's president. It takes many knowledgeable, talented, and thoughtful members of a team, each with their own set of skills to work together in leadership for the benefit of the organization or society. This week, you are learning to do by doing. As you establish your mythical 51st state, you will realize how important leadership skills can be for your own communities and the country at large, even if you're working behind the scenes. Additionally, you will realize the importance of shared governance and working collectively for the common good. Many of you, I'm sure, one day will become leaders of businesses, hospitals, service agencies, government, and myriad other organizations. Who knows, hopefully one of you will even become the next President of the United States. Truly, in our great nation, you all have the opportunity, through hard work and dedicated attention, to gain the knowledge and skills during school, when attending university, and in your life experiences, such as Illinois Boise State, to become a leader in any profession you all choose. It is my privilege to represent EIU in standing together with Premier Boise State. During our partnership, thousands of young men, such as yourself, have studied in our classrooms and slept and dined in our residence halls during their Premier Boise State environment and experience. Many of these same great students have chosen to come back to Eastern for their own university education, which we would very much encourage each of you to also consider. I hope the experience you gained at Premier Boise State this week will ignite in you the desire to become a leader and to seek the confidence for you to achieve your dreams. Thank you, and have a great time at Illinois Boise State, Premier Boise State, and on our beautiful EIU campus. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Glassman, as we hope to continue many more years of our successful partnership. It is now my incredible honor to introduce our first speaker this evening, Representative from the 102nd District, Brad Holbrook. Representative Holbrook is a small business owner and farmer from the Shelby County area in central Illinois. Politically, he is a social conservative who has advocated for reduced taxes, job creation, and government reforms while championing governmental transparency at both the state and local levels. Please join me in welcoming Representative Brad Holbrook.
Wow, I am stunned. 83rd year. Give yourself and the leadership a big round for 83 years. So, like he said, the 102nd District, Shelby County is my home, so if you're not familiar with the area, I live about 45 minutes straight west. The district is Shelby County, Moultrie County, Douglas, southern Champaign, and most of Edgar, with a little corner of Vermilion and a little corner of Macon. From the northern edge of the district, I can see Assembly Hall, and from the southern end of the district, I can almost see EIU. So I just kind of wrap around the Coles County area that we're now in. Just a little bit about myself and kind of what got me to this point. I grew up on a dairy farm, or working on dairy farms, and actually had a small farm of our own where we actually raised hogs, if you can believe that or not. It was never my intention to be involved in politics, but over the years, just decided that it was about time. I could see things weren't going quite well in Springfield, and so I decided in the fall of 2011 to get involved. And actually, I put a team together in late October. Early November, I'm in a race, and March of 2012, I'd won a primary. In April of 2017, I was seated in the Illinois General Assembly. And with the exception of 2 years in there with redistricting, I've been there ever since. So it's a great honor and a privilege to be here tonight and to be able to serve the residents and the citizens of the 102nd. I guess before the lights went down, part of my presentation was to ask how many have ever been to the Capitol in Springfield. Maybe I don't know if I can see hands or cheers or loud, anything like that. All right. Awesome. All right. Well, Springfield's a great place to visit, and we have lots of programs to take advantage of. Come to visit for the day. We have a Page for the Day program. We'd love to have you come and participate in that. Just connect with each your individual state rep or your state senator. And also we have for the college age students, we have an intern program that's actually a paid program for anybody that's interested in that. Another question I have for you is, anybody been involved with their local politics at all? Been involved in a campaign of any sort? Any cheers or hands? A few of those, all right. Well, we're coming up onto what will probably be a record-setting year this year in Illinois politics. Probably be the most expensive gubernatorial race in the history of the state of Illinois. Never before have we had two billionaires running for this office, and it's going to be kind of an exciting opportunity. So I would urge all of you, if you have that desire, to get involved with those campaigns. I guess I almost wanted to start out here as I kind of scroll through my comments. What I want to say is I feel for the guys that were running the PowerPoint and all that. A week ago Sunday night, I was to give a presentation at my church, and it nearly 100% relied upon the PowerPoint to work. Well, within 30 seconds of me taking the podium, the bulb went out, and it took about 20 minutes. They never did get back to going again, and so thankfully I was able to pull together a plan B, and we had a successful evening. So hopefully, I feel for those guys, and hopefully this will continue to be doing well. So 2 or 3 points as I kind of wrap up here. In this business, and in any business, whether it's politics or you're a businessman or you're an employee, family person, whatever the case might be, your word is extremely important, especially in Springfield. People count on us. That's about all we have is our word. And so when we tell someone, this is what we plan to do, this is our stance, we have to stick with that. If ever there's an opportunity that we change our minds, we need to connect back with those people and say, well, based on this or that information, new information we received, we're going to change our mind about a position that we have on an issue. Nobody likes surprises in this business, and so as we are learning and growing and doing things in life, and as we're politicians, it's extremely important to keep your word. 2 other things that's extremely important is when you have a failure, be willing to take the blame for that. Don't blame others for your losses or your failures. Just be willing to take the blame. That just is huge. The last point I'd like to make as I close out here, and this is extremely vital, especially in a town of Springfield where there's 117 other colleagues, there's 118 total, 59 in the Senate, is be willing to work with others and be willing to share the credit and give them the credit for helping you get stuff done. That's extremely important. So I'm sure that's part of what you guys talk about here this week and what you learn and what you do. And again, it's an honor to be here and a privilege, and I thank you for the opportunity. Thanks again.
Thank you, Representative Holbrook. Today is also the first day we will be awarding the Model County flags based on your participation in activities and the outcome of various sports competitions throughout the day. Will each county currently with a model flag please bring them forward at this time? Gentlemen, as I announced, please have one of your citizens come forward. Today's winner in the Lincoln Wing, Geiger. Today's winner on the Reagan Wing, Gleason. And the overall model county for today, Kennedy. Gentlemen, it is now my honor to introduce our second speaker for this evening, the CEO of the Peoria Riverfront Museum, Mr. John Morris. Mr. Morris is a 25-year veteran of higher education who has formerly been a White House intern and a Peoria City Councilman. During his time in the Peoria area, he has actively been involved in his community as a cultural and civic philanthropist. Please join me in welcoming Mr. John Morris.
Citizens, citizens, I look upon the future of this great state and this great nation, That's you. American Legion Premier Boise State. I was invited to come here 34 years ago and could not make it. My son was here 6 years ago and had the time of his life, a transformational experience. I turned 50 last week. It's on my bucket list. And here I am at Boise State, finally, with you. Citizens, this is indeed a great honor to talk about three things tonight. The first, I want to talk about the bicentennial of the state of Illinois. Here we are at Premier Illinois Boise State. And did you know we're in the bicentennial year of the greatest state in the Union? 1818, we were admitted to this great country. How many knew before I just told you that this was the bicentennial year of Illinois? Anybody? A few. Ladies and gentlemen, there's not a lady in the house. But gentlemen, we're in the bicentennial year of the greatest state in the Union. I'm gonna challenge you as you go out of this Boise State and back into your hometowns and on in a year or two when you're out in college and on into the world. I want to challenge you tonight to think about how great this state is. We have led the nation with some of the greatest and most important leaders of some of the most important movements for equal opportunity in the history and freedom in the history of the United States. We are the land of Lincoln. Who came here at age 21, born in Kentucky, raised in Indiana, but Illinois is where it came together. For the president who would save the Union and who would be taken from us. We were once home to Ulysses S. Grant, born in Ohio, the general of the Union armies, came to Galena, and who is having a rebirth, I think, now with the new biography by Ron Chernow. The only president born in the state of Illinois, raised in the state of Illinois, educated in the state of Illinois, is who? Ronald Reagan. There's a fourth president connected to Illinois, served as a U.S. Senator from Illinois, taught at the University of Chicago, President Obama. Citizens, we haven't done too bad in putting transformational presidents from Illinois on the map. We've led in agriculture inventions. At our museum, we just borrowed from the Smithsonian for the last 3 months, John Deere's first plow. Transformed American agriculture. The leading economy in the state of Illinois is agriculture. Anybody's family's involved with agriculture in this room? So I want to go back to one of those four presidents, the only one born, raised, and educated in Illinois. For 10 years prior to coming to the Peoria Riverfront Museum as the CEO, I was the founding director of the Ronald W. Reagan Society at Eureka College, the smallest college to ever graduate a president of the United States. Located just 20 miles over from Peoria in the center of our state, today it has 600 students. When Ronald Reagan was a student there, about 250. Ronald Reagan was born in a massive snowstorm in 1911 in Tampico, Illinois. His father looked at him and said he looks like a fat little Dutchman and gave him the nickname Dutch, which he would keep all the way up through his Illinois years. Has anybody here ever played a sport in high school? Anybody ever played a sport in high school? Come on. Okay. Anybody ever been involved with music or drama or speech or debate? Anybody ever had a part-time job? Citizens, these are things that young Dutch Reagan did. Growing up in Illinois, in a poor family whose father was a good man but an alcoholic during Prohibition, whose mother was a devout Sunday school teacher. He lived in 12 different homes in his youth. He moved from Tampico to Chicago to Monmouth. Anybody from Monmouth here? Good for you, Monmouth. Galesburg, he lived in Galesburg, Illinois, Knox County. He moved back to Tampico. He then moved to Dixon, Illinois. Anybody from Dixon? Ronald Reagan would call Dixon his home, and then he got admitted to a little college to go play football, Eureka College. He studied economics and sociology, and he did all those things I'm talking about, played sports, was in drama. He acted in 14 plays. He played right guard on the team. And he was in student government, and while there was no Boise State yet, I guarantee you he would have been involved with Boise State when he was at Dixon High. Well, these things gave Ronald Reagan confidence, and he would go on through 5 different distinct careers: radio announcing, 53 movies he acted in Hollywood. He didn't get involved with elected office until he was 55 years old in California, when he was elected governor twice of the largest, most populous state in the Union. He would run for president twice and fail. And then in 1980, he ran and won the presidency in a campaign that changed the course of American history. In 1984, he won the most electoral votes in the history of the United States, winning 49 of the 50 states, all but Minnesota, where his opponent was from. Citizens, this was a young leader from Illinois who would go on during his presidency to demand, at the height of the Cold War, Mr. Gorbachev, I ask, is our history education working? They knew that. Mr. Gorbachev, he said. By tear down this wall, he meant tear down the oppression of Soviet tyranny. And the wall would come down within a year and a half. Citizens, young Ronald Reagan was you, and would go on to literally change the course of world history. So when you leave tonight, or you're not going to leave yet, this weekend, and you go back out into the world, remember, you can change the world. It has happened before from the great state of Illinois. It will happen again. The second thing I want to talk to you about is this. I run a museum. And at your age and what you do, I don't know how many of you visit museums all the time. How many people like museums? Do you like museums? Okay, I'm going to tell you, when I was your age, museum. Sounded like the kind of thing you had to do maybe on a school trip or something. When I went off to the George Washington University from Illinois in Washington, D.C., where I studied undergraduate and graduate school and had the great privilege of being elected president of the student body and interning the White House, and I started going to all those museums in Washington, D.C. They were free, the Smithsonian, and I got the bug, and let me tell you something, go to museums. Objects tell stories. Stories inspire us. They affirm us. They give us confidence. And they do what we are trying to do every day at the only multidisciplinary museum of its kind in the country, the Peoria Riverfront Museum. Unleash the full talent and genius of every individual. Visit museums. That's my second word of advice to you. The third thing I want to leave you with tonight is that about 10 years ago, I had the great privilege of getting to know the man who today is the senior living commandant of the United States Marine Corps. Anybody in here have respect for the United States Marine Corps? I have respect for everybody who has ever served in the uniform for the defense of freedom, including the Marine Corps. And I have a great deal of respect, and I want you to help me show respect for your outgoing governor, Governor David, who is headed off to West Point, the United States Military Academy, to serve our country. Let's hear it for the governor. So my friend, General P.X. Kelly, Paul Xavier Kelly, the senior living commandant of the Marine Corps, is approaching 90 years old. He lives in Washington, D.C. He served from 1983 to 1987, served tragically in the worst loss of life in the Beirut bombing. Some of you in this room are old enough to remember that. Served valiantly to keep the morale high. General Kelly gave me a present about 10 years ago, and I've kept it on my person every single day that I've worn a suit coat or a coat since. It's a copy of the Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution. And I want to conclude my talk by telling you why I carry this with me every single day. Now, for some of you, reading the Constitution is something you had to do or will have to do in your civics, social studies, or social curriculum in the state of Illinois. But when your governor got up on the first night, I was watching on your streaming video on your website, and he got up and you raised your hands, and you remember you took an oath? You took an oath to the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the state of Illinois and your Constitution here for Premier Illinois Boise State. But when you took that oath to the Constitution of the United States of America, you took an oath to the document that I believe is one of the greatest man-made, perhaps God-inspired documents in the history of our country. And here's why. Because it realized that the fundamental thing, that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So if any one of us ever gets too much power from politics or money and business or media, or in any way, shape, or form we accumulate that power, it will corrupt. The framers of the United States Constitution did something never before accomplished in the history of humankind. They ensured that no one of us will ever get too much power. They balanced out Article 1 of the Constitution between legislative branch of the House and the Senate so that they could keep a check and a balance on each other. They balanced out the commander-in-chief, the executive branch, the presidency. They balanced out those who would keep an eye on the Constitution. And perhaps most importantly, they came right away and began to debate on the amendments to the Constitution that would become known as what? The Bill of Rights. Those freedoms that government is not allowed to have. Those freedoms that are ours that can never be taken from us by our government so long as the Constitution is respected and held up. The framers of the Constitution knew something about human nature, that we are fundamentally good, but that too much power would corrupt us. As you go away from this important transformational week in your lives, remember to defend what the framers of the Constitution worked for, which is spreading the power out to the individuals. Ronald Reagan came back to his alma mater shortly after he'd been elected one of the most important his first position he'd ever been elected to the largest governor of the largest state, California. And on the steps of his little college back in Illinois, way back in 1967, he's freshly elected governor of California, and he tells the crowd, the purpose of our nation is to unleash the full talent and genius of every individual. The purpose of our nation. The reason we have that Constitution, the reason people have shed their blood and laid down their lives to preserve our freedom is to unleash the full talent and genius of you, citizens. So, I wish you the very best from the bottom of my heart. And I'm not just saying this because it sounds like a cool thing to say in a speech on your third night at Boise State. I mean it. You are the future. Grab hold of it. Defend individual liberty and unleash your full talent and genius. God bless you all. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Here at Boise State, each afternoon's schedule is divided into 2 blocks, with the first being the educational block. This block consists of leadership seminars, which many of you attended today, state political meetings, lobbyist activities, along with time for band, law enforcement, and media productions. Starting on Tuesday for the counties of Gleason, Hayes, Keller, and Stell, and then on Wednesday for the counties of Canaster, Geiger, Savage, and Kennedy, will be your opportunity to attend the Developing Leadership Skills Reaction Course. Put on by the Army ROTC cadets of EIU and UIUC, you will have the opportunity to test your leadership skills, along with your physical and logic skills in a series of team reaction courses. Please talk to your counselors to find out more information, and please attend. It is now my honor to introduce our final speaker for this evening, Representative from the 106th District, Thomas Bennett. Representative Bennett is a retired IT manager and former educator who represents over 55 communities in the areas from Pontiac to Watseka. He is actively involved on state educational committees, working to improve Illinois schools that you attend. Please join me in welcoming Representative Thomas Bennett.
Good evening. I'm very glad to be with you. I love the energy. We were here about an hour or so before dinner and had a chance to walk around a little bit. I love the energy. Walking around before we got started tonight here in the gymnasium. I love it. I absolutely love what was going on. The band, where are you guys at? Can you guys give them a shout out, please? Great job. Thank you. 4 days, is that what I understand for practice? That's about all we had? God bless you. That was fantastic. When we started tonight, I had 2 things that jumped to my mind. One was we began with prayer, and also we did the Pledge of Allegiance. When we begin each session in Springfield, we're there about 65 to 90 days a year, we always start with a prayer. And that's probably about the only time it is absolutely, totally quiet on the house floor. The only time. And as soon as we have the prayer that is completed, we turn to the flag and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Who is that for? That is for all the Americans, is it not? Is it not for all Americans? That's what makes our country so different than any other country in the entire world. Because this country is ours. This government is ours. And how this government works depends on us, and it depends on you. This is the 83rd annual section, as I understand it. And of course, folks, you may not realize this, but I bet you do, that you are very part of a very special select group to be here. Young men before you have gone on to be leaders in government, military, business, education, agriculture, athletics. There's presidents, governors, congressmen, senators, generals, teachers, and businessmen. They were inspired and have inspired others, and they were led by example to make a difference. Men like Michael Jordan, the Michael Jordan you're talking about. Former Chicago Bulls star, he won 6 NBA championships and one of the best basketball players really of all time. Is that right? Yeah? Michael Jordan? Men like his coach, Phil Jackson. He won NBA championships with 2 different teams, the Bulls and the Lakers. There you go. Men like radio and TV hosts Tom Brokaw, Rush Limbaugh, and Lou Dobbs. Men like Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker and former Governor Mitch Daniels of Indiana. Men like Nick Saban, head football coach at... Quite a history there. And men like musician Bruce, God bless you, Bruce Springsteen, you betcha. And also men like Neil Armstrong, a while back made history on July 20th, 1969. Yeah, that's a little bit ago. By becoming the first man to do something no one else had ever done. He walked on the moon. There's a lot of books on leadership. You'll never find the time to read them all, and I'm sure I won't either. But let me share a few tips of my own on what a leader does and is. First of all, a leader looks for opportunities. Let's realize first, folks, life is not fair. Never has been. But be grateful anyway. Keep that touch of humility. Flipping burgers, guys, it really is a good way to start. I walked beans and I baled some hay when I was a kid. My daughter tried detasseling corn. Anybody do that? Yeah, that is a tough job, detasseling corn. My son and I mowed yards, and mowed yards, and mowed yards, and yes, mowed yards. My father called the jobs opportunities. My grandparents moved to Illinois from Kentucky. They were farmers. They did not have tractors, guys. This is a long time ago. They had 2 horses, 2, and a wagon. They worked hard and provided for their families. And again, folks, I'm grateful. The second thing about leadership, folks, it's about the people. Say it with me. It's about the people. One more time. It's about the people. Thank you. To do things, you will need people together. You will never know it all. People have different skills. Identify those skills and then use them to bring together to make the team stronger, better than ever before. Share the spotlight. Share the kudos. Others will see that you're not just about you, but they're going to see that you see the importance of each person on the team. Michael Jordan, of course, very talented. As he said, talent wins games, he said. But teamwork and intelligence, and this is the difference, teamwork and intelligence wins championships. You can't do it by yourself. I remember as a kid watching him play, he scored 67 points in a playoff game, but he lost the game. Wasn't even close. They needed a team around him, and they got it. And how many championships did they win? 6. But it took a team to come together. Third thing, lead by example. If you're accountable, if you're respectful, positive, compassionate, those around you will follow your lead. However, if you're cynical, if you're negative, if you're always pointing the finger, guess what? Same thing will happen. I worked for a large corporation and had many good bosses. But there was one that I recall was truly a challenge. It was hard to understand his vision. It was hard to understand what he wanted us to do. And everything we did accomplish, he passed on to his boss. Oh, yeah. And he took credit for it. It was all about him and about him getting that next promotion. It wasn't about his people. And he lost our respect. My coworkers moved out, and it was awful hard for him to find any replacements coming in. And eventually, he left the company. Next thing, it's about trust. And Brad talked about this just a little bit. Do what you say you will do, folks. I've worked as a physics and high school chemistry teacher. I've worked as a computer science analyst and manager for a large corporation for almost 30 years. And for the last 4 years, served as a state representative in the General Assembly in Springfield. Leading by example has been so clear, has never been so clear from what today. Working with the governor and fellow legislators is critical to getting things done. We've seen it work, and sometimes we've seen it not work. But building trust, guys, doing what you say you will do is critical. If you say you're going to support something and then you don't, you had better have a good reason why, because you're going to be called on it right away. You know, you want a reputation that says you're going to stick with your word. And perhaps in the end, your word really might be all that we all have in the very end of it. We all have a reputation. And folks, whether you realize it or not, we're all making a reputation this week in Charleston, Illinois. Are we not? Yes, we are. So make it a good one. The next thing, this is true really at any age. Find a person you can turn to for advice. Find a mentor. Find someone that understands you and your current situation. And that can make all the difference in the world. And number six, enjoy life. I've been around for a while. Yes, Abraham Lincoln and I went to school together. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. When I was your age, we did not trust anyone over 30. And now I'm double that. Yes, I'm 62. I'm old. I've been married to the same woman for almost 38 years. Yeah. Thank you. Best decision of my life, guys. And I hope she thinks so too. But boy, life goes quickly. My mom used to say that the more you laugh, the longer you live. And I think she's got something. What do you think? The more you laugh, the longer you live. And that's good to do. Yeah. My guess, you've probably been working on several of these ideas and these skills just these last 3 days as you find ways to work together, to build trust, which you got to do. And you got to build respect and work through the process here. You're making memories, folks. You know this. But enjoy the time together with your new friends. This is very, very special. And again, you're a very select group to do this. But my question for you, at the end of this week, what will you take with you? As you go back home to family and friends, what will you remember the most? I believe you're juniors, so you have one more year of high school left, right? Is that right? One more year? And then you're off to another chapter in your life, whether it's college or military or trade school. And how will you use that year? Did this week help you find that passion that was hidden, but you got it? Did you find that spark that caught your interest? Follow it. Explore it. If you did not, keep searching. Life is really straightforward. It never goes like this. It goes over here, and then over here. And before you know it, you're back over here. Is that fair to say, folks? Is that what you see too? Yes? But you keep moving. Maybe it's harder to hit a moving target. Okay. But keep this in mind along those lines here. Keep dreaming. My son Andy, when he was a senior in high school, loved math. And when he was a senior, the math class that he was in entered a bridge building contest with those other schools. Some of you may be doing this next year. They made the bridge out of balsa wood and glue. And it had to be strong enough to hold a certain amount of weight. Did he win? Nope. Did he come in second? Nope. He was one of the first ones that dropped out of the contest. Things did not work very well. He had one of the weaker bridges. But he found that spark, guys. He found the spark. He went to college and got his degree in civil engineering. and is a project manager building bridges full-time now on the East Coast. He helped to build bridges in South Carolina, in Connecticut, and now works on the Outer Banks of North Carolina building a 2.1-mile bridge. Should be done in a year or so. I'd love to hear him talk about the bridge. I don't always understand it, but I love it because he loves it. He found it. Steve Jobs. Everybody know about Steve Jobs? Chairman, executive officer, co-founder of Apple. Also an involved shareholder of Pixar. This is what he said as we get ready to close here. He says, your work is going to fill a large part of your life. And the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, he said, keep looking. Don't settle. And as with all matters of the heart, you'll know it when you find it. I love what he said. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know it when you find it. It's been a joy to be with you today. It's been exciting to watch the energy. Look for those opportunities. It's about the people. Lead by example. Trust and enjoy life because it goes quick. And the last thing is, find that spark. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Bennett. At this time, Premier Boise State current Governor David Nkansa will make a presentation to our speakers.
On behalf of the American Legion, Illinois Premier Boise State, we would like to thank each of you by presenting you with these commemorative plaques. Thank you.
Now, gentlemen, your BSN crew has worked extensively trying to prepare a wonderful clip for you. We're going to give it one more attempt.
Rolling. Welcome to the first broadcast of the 83rd Annual Boise State News Network.
We hope you had a wonderful time so far.
In today's news, all outdoor sports have been canceled. Mother Nature hasn't been rolling. Welcome to the first broadcast of the 83rd Annual Boise State News Network.
We hope you had a wonderful time so far.
In today's news, all outdoor sports have been canceled. Mother Nature hasn't been too kind to us.
However, quiz bowl, volleyball, and basketball are still on. So if you were participating in an outdoor sport, feel free to join in on one of the indoor sports.
Now, over to Chris with the election results.
Dude, my name's Troy. God. Anyways, we sure had some fierce competition for county elected seats. From each county, there were 8 positions up for election. Your Supreme Court justices are Gleason County, Noah Eagle; Keller County, John McGow; Hayes County, Anthony Nishar; Kennedy County, Bennett Whitley; Conister County, Francis Fabian; Savage County, Spencer Warfield; Geiger County, Andrew Geneve. Stell County, Shazair Bennett. And the senators are Gleason County, Adam Grimes. Keller County, Kevin Bohm. Hayes County, Jacob Petrick. Kennedy County, Noah Mariar. Conister County, Gatlin Miller. Savage County, Philip Young. Geiger County, Luke Altorfer. And Stell County, Aiden Hefford. Congratulations to all who were elected. And I'm sorry if I butchered your name.
Thanks, Troy. Now for the meme of the day. In Spanish, the suffix ito means little, so the word Dorito means something like Little Doro, implying the existence of a bigger and much more legendary snack called the Doro.
Man, I'd like to try that. Now to the real Chris with the weather.
Thanks, Brody. For the past day, clouds have been rolling in with major consequences for Illinois Boise State. The Charleston campus has received over an inch of rain that's been solidly pouring down. The future forecast doesn't look so promising either. For the rest of the week, the forecast looks like high temperatures in the upper 80s and average lows in the mid-60s. Along with these temperatures, expect rain to become the norm here at Boise State. It is expected to rain for the rest of the week until Friday.
Thank you, Chris, for your rainy report.
Now, a word from our sponsors.
The Boise State store is now officially open for business in 2018. For the first time ever, we have our very own Boise State merchandise. Get your Boise State Frisbees, which are quite literally flying off the shelves. Get your Boise State water bottles for $3, beverage not included.
Get your very own vehicle sticker for $2, and why don't you relive the glory days with your grandchildren down the road with a city picture for $3.
Get your patriotic bracelets as well for just $5. All of these are available in Lawson Hall next to the headquarters every mealtime. Get yours today.
This commercial you've just seen is approved by the American Legion, Illinois Premier Boise State.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Now here is Sam, your man with the Tuesday feeding schedule.
That's darn right, Caleb. For breakfast, there's the option of scrambled eggs with biscuits, or sausage with pepper gravy, and potato coins. After this, for lunch, there's a hamburger or a cheeseburger with sneaky stealth fries. Hope you can find them. And corn. Finally is dinner. Dinner consists of spaghetti with meatballs, green beans, breadsticks, and white cake with iced tea. Yum.
Well, that was a heck of a show.
I think it went pretty good.
So, what do we do now?
I don't know. I think this is the point where our super cool editors take us out of here.
The color guard will now advance and retrieve the colors of our country. You will stand at attention. 2. Please. Gentlemen, give our color guard a round of applause. It's obvious to see with one-day practice, they're better than I am prepared for them. Please remain standing for the benediction, which will be delivered by Remy Astronomo from Savage County in Gibson City, Illinois.
Please bow your heads. I'd like to thank God for this blessed opportunity to participate in Boise State with these great men around me. I'm grateful for the competition, camaraderie, and even adversity that we have experienced. I'm especially thankful for the great people I've met and befriended. These friendships and bonds will stay with us for the rest of our lives. Amen.
That concludes tonight's General Assembly. As our centralized theme of the week seems to be weather, county councilors, please make sure it's appropriate to go outside and please take charge of your counties. We are dismissed.
I was hoping that wasn't going to knock out the whole set.